Most preppers think EMP readiness means a closet full of gear. That closet is worthless if you freeze for 20 minutes, deciding what to do first. Military units don't survive first contact because they have better equipment. They survive because every response is automatic, rehearsed, executed in seconds without discussion. What you're about to learn is not prepper opinion. It's battle drill doctrine adapted for your household. 9 actions in exact sequence, timed against the actual infrastructure collapse window. Everyone else will be staring at a dead phone. You'll already be 60 seconds into a plan. Action 1. Execute a rehearsed 60-second household battle drill. The word rehearsed is doing all the work in that sentence. This is not a plan you make after the lights go out. This is a plan you've already run. Twice, 5 times, until your family executes it without thinking. Here's the military principle. Battle drills are triggered by contact. The moment an event occurs, trained personnel execute a predefined response. No meeting, no discussion, no vote on what happens next. Your household version has 4 simultaneous tasks. Fill every water vessel, unplug all electronics, retrieve your Faraday kit, confirm your rally point. Why simultaneous? Because an EMP doesn't give you a countdown. Starfish Prime proved this in 1962. The electromagnetic pulse from a high-altitude detonation arrives at the speed of light. The window between detonation and consequence is functionally 0. Everything electronic in the pulse radius is already hit before you process what happened. The civilian default is confusion. You check your phone, it's dead. You flip a light switch, nothing. You walk to the window, you stand there. That's 20 minutes gone. 20 minutes of standing in your kitchen trying to understand what just happened. A rehearsed drill replaces those 20 minutes with 60 seconds of coordinated action. One person fills the bathtub. Immediately. One person pulls plugs on anything with a circuit board. One person grabs the prepared Faraday container. One person confirms the family meeting location by line of sight or physical check. 60 seconds, 4 tasks. 0 decisions required in the moment. Every decision was made weeks ago during the rehearsal. The people who perform worst in crisis are not the weakest. They're the ones making real-time decisions in an environment that punishes hesitation. Your drill eliminates hesitation entirely. I've put together a complete guide covering everything you need to know about EMP preparedness, and you'll find it linked in the first line of the description. Action 2. Secure water from every available source immediately. This is your highest priority resource action. Municipal water systems run on electric pumps. The moment the grid dies, those pumps stop. You don't lose water pressure instantly. You lose it within hours. In some systems, within minutes. The residual pressure in the pipes is all you have. Once it's gone, your faucets produce nothing. The 1989 Quebec blackout collapsed an entire provincial power grid in 90 seconds. One solar event. 90 seconds. The entire grid went down. Now multiply that scenario by the permanence of an EMP. This is not a temporary outage. You are not getting pressure back by morning. Your bathtub holds roughly 40 gallons. Your water heater holds 30 to 50 gallons. That's 70 to 90 gallons of clean, treated water available to your household right now. All it costs is turning a faucet and opening a drain valve. After the pressure drops, that same water costs you miles of walking, filtration equipment, and physical risk. A family of 4 needs roughly 1 gallon per person per day for drinking alone. Add sanitation and cooking, and you're closer to 3 gallons per person per day. 90 gallons gives a family of 4 roughly a week of survival water. Miss this window and you start day 1 already in deficit. The civilian mistake is assuming water will still be available because it always has been. Water infrastructure is invisible until it fails. Trained operators secure water first because it's the resource with the shortest acquisition window and the highest consequence of delay. You fill everything: bathtub, pots, pitchers, bottles. The water heater stays sealed as your reserve. You access it only via the drain valve when your open containers run dry. This action takes 5 minutes. The water it secures lasts a week. There is no equivalent trade anywhere else in your preparation. Action 3. Pay attention to this one. This is the action most people get completely wrong. Retrieve a pre-staged Faraday container with an AM/FM shortwave radio inside. Not a phone, not a laptop, not a tablet. A $30 Shortwave radio. Here's why. Every device you own that connects to the internet requires infrastructure. Cell towers, server farms, fiber optic lines, routing stations. An EMP destroys all of it simultaneously. Your phone could survive inside the best Faraday bag money can buy. It powers on. It finds zero networks, zero towers, zero signal. It is a functioning device connected to nothing. A shortwave radio requires one piece of infrastructure. The ionosphere. That's the layer of the atmosphere between roughly 30 and 250 miles above the Earth's surface. It reflects radio waves. It cannot be damaged by an EMP. It cannot be shut down. It has no power supply to destroy. Military communications doctrine after losing primary systems is simple. Establish any receive capability immediately. You don't need to transmit. You need to listen. You need to determine three things. Is this a local blackout? Is this a regional grid failure? Or is this a continental scale EMP event? The answer determines everything you do for the next 72 hours. Your Faraday container is a galvanized steel trash can from any hardware store. $20. Line the interior with cardboard so the radio never touches the metal walls. Place the radio inside with fresh batteries. Seal the lid. Total cost is under $50. Total protection is functionally equivalent to military-grade shielding for receive-only electronics. The physics are straightforward. A Faraday cage distributes electromagnetic charge across its exterior surface. The field inside drops to near zero. The metal enclosure doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to attenuate the pulse enough to protect low-sensitivity electronics. A steel trash can with a tight-fitting lid achieves this for devices that don't require precision calibration. Here's the contrast that matters. Preppers spend $300 to $500 on Faraday bags filled with phones, tablets, and laptops. All devices that require network infrastructure to function. A $50 setup with a single shortwave radio outperforms all of it. Because this radio connects to the one network an EMP can't destroy. Within hours of a continental event, shortwave frequencies will carry emergency broadcasts, military communications, and amateur radio operators relaying ground truth from across the country. You will know what happened. You will know the scale. You will know whether to shelter or move. Everyone without this capability is operating blind. Action 4. Account for all family members and establish your rally protocol. This requires zero technology, zero power, zero equipment. It requires one thing: a prior conversation. Military accountability after contact is immediate. Every unit reports personnel status within minutes. The reason is operational. You cannot execute any further action until you know who you have and where they are. Your household is no different. The civilian failure mode after a disaster is irrational movement. People leave secure locations to drive or walk toward where they think family members might be. They have no information, they have no communication, they are guessing. And that movement puts them in the highest risk environment possible. Roads jammed with stalled vehicles, intersections with no traffic signals, populations in early stage panic. After-action data from Katrina documents this pattern repeatedly. People left shelter to search for family members who were already safe somewhere else. That search itself became the lethal event. This is a solved problem. You solve it with a rally protocol. Your protocol has three elements: a primary rally point, a secondary rally point, a time-based trigger. Primary point is your home. If a family member cannot reach home within 2 hours, they go to the secondary point. The secondary point is a predetermined location known to all members: a relative's house, a church, a public building with clear sightlines. The time trigger eliminates indefinite waiting. If no contact is made at either point within 24 hours, the protocol dictates the next action. That action is also decided in advance. Nobody is improvising. Nobody is making emotional decisions under stress. The plan was made in your living room on a calm Tuesday evening. It executes automatically under pressure because everyone agreed to it when thinking was easy. This costs you nothing. It takes 15 minutes to establish. It eliminates the single most dangerous behavior in a grid down event. Action 5. Assess and harden your defensive posture. This is not about firearms. This is about posture. Your home either looks like a target or it doesn't. You control which one. Start with entry points. Lock every door and window. Reinforce sliding glass doors with a cut broomstick in the track. Identify which windows are visible from the street. Identify which doors are weakest. Establish watch rotation if you have multiple adults in the household. One person stays awake and alert. Military operations never leave a position unobserved, neither does yours. Now here's the concept that changes everything. Light discipline. In a functioning grid, every house on your street glows at night. Lights mean nothing. In a blacked-out grid, a single candle in a window tells every person walking past that someone inside has resources. Batteries, fuel, preparation, supplies. Visible light in a grid-down environment converts your home from shelter to target. Not in a week, within 48 hours. Because people who did not prepare will identify people who did. And they will do it by looking for the house that still has light. Military units in hostile territory control their light signature completely. You do the same. Blackout curtains, interior rooms only, minimal light output. If you use a candle, you use it in a bathroom with no exterior windows. This is not paranoia. This is operational discipline practiced by every military force on Earth. Your defensive posture is not about confrontation. It's about never being selected for confrontation in the first place. Action 6. Pull cash and physical documents within the first hour. Every ATM is dead. Every card reader is dead. Every bank network is offline. Every digital payment system is gone. This happens at the same moment the lights go out. There is no delay. There is no grace period. Military civil affairs teams document this transition in every conflict zone they've operated in over the past 30 years. Iraq, Afghanistan, Haiti. The pattern is identical. When electronic systems fail, economies revert to physical currency within hours. Not days. Hours. Your action is to access whatever cash you have in your home, not hundreds, small bills, fives, ones, tens, because making change becomes impossible when nobody has a register. A $20 bill is useless if the item costs $3 and the seller has no change. You need the exact amount or close to it. Physical documents are your second target. Driver's license, passports, insurance cards, medical records, property deeds, birth certificates. Everything stored in the cloud no longer exists in practical terms. Your insurance company's servers are down. Your medical portal is offline. Your bank's records are inaccessible. The only proof you have of anything is what you can hold in your hand. Gather these into a single waterproof container. A gallon Ziploc bag works. A waterproof document pouch works better. This goes into your primary bag or stays on your person. You don't separate from it, civilians assume. Records can be recovered after a crisis. In a temporary blackout, that's true. In a continental EMP, there is no timeline for recovery. The copies you hold physically may be the only copies that exist for months. Action 7. Inventory and ration your food using a consumption timeline. Do not count cans. Count days. This is the military logistics concept of burn rate. You are not calculating how much food you have. You are calculating how many days your household survives on what you have. These are completely different numbers depending on one decision you make right now. Here's the calculation. Take your total food supply. Estimate total available calories. Divide by the number of people in your household. Divide by daily caloric target. That gives you your survival window in days. A family of 4 with a 14-day food supply at 2,000 calories per person per day has exactly 14 days. Reduce intake to 1,500 calories, and that same supply lasts roughly 19 days. Add one additional person, a neighbor, a relative, someone who shows up, and your 19-day supply drops to 15 days. The decision to reduce caloric intake is made on day 1, not day 7, not when you open the last case of canned goods. On day 1, because every day you eat at full consumption is a day stolen from the end of your timeline. Sequence matters. Eat perishable food first. Your refrigerator contents are room temperature within 4 hours. Your freezer contents remain viable roughly 24 to 48 hours if you keep the door closed. Every time you open that freezer door, you lose hours. Open it once. Remove everything you'll eat that day. Close it. After perishables, move to canned goods. After canned goods, move to dry staples. Rice, beans, oats. This is standard field ration sequencing. You eat what spoils first and preserve what lasts longest. The viral specification here is this: 2 families with identical pantries, Same food, same cans, same supplies. One family makes the caloric reduction decision on day 1 and sequences their consumption correctly. The other eats normally and opens the freezer 6 times on day 1. Family 1 survives 20 days. Family 2 runs out in 9. Same food. Different decisions. Different outcomes by a factor of 2. Action 8. Stage analog navigation and local area maps. Your phone's GPS may be damaged. Even if it isn't, mapping applications require data connectivity that no longer exists. You are now navigating without a screen. Military land navigation doctrine treats electronic navigation as a convenience. Paper maps and a compass are the actual capability. Not the backup, the capability. Everything electronic is the backup. Your application here isn't wilderness survival, it's urban and suburban route planning. You need to identify evacuation routes that avoid 3 things: highway interchanges, urban choke points, population density. Highways become parking lots when traffic signals die and vehicles stall simultaneously. Interchanges become impassable. Every major road becomes a compression point where thousands of people converge with no traffic management. Your routes use secondary roads, residential streets, county roads. You identify them in advance on a paper map. You mark water sources along each route. You mark alternate paths at every decision point. 2 is 1, 1 is none. If your primary route is blocked, you transition to your alternate without stopping to think. The military OAKOC framework applies directly. Observation in fields of fire tells you to avoid areas where you're visible and exposed. Avenues of approach tells you which roads others will use, so you avoid them. Key terrain tells you which intersections and bridges become control points. Obstacles tells you where stalled vehicles and debris will block movement. Cover and concealment tells you which routes offer protection if you need to stop. You don't need to memorize the framework. You need a paper map, a pencil, and 30 minutes of planning before an event. Mark 2 routes from your home to your secondary rally point. Mark 2 routes to the nearest reliable water source. Mark the roads you will not use under any circumstances. A $3 gas station roadmap and a $5 compass outperform a $1,000 smartphone with no signal. This is the efficiency ratio that matters. Action 9. This is the action that contradicts every prepper instinct. Establish a neighborhood information network before sunset on day 1. Every survival forum emphasizes isolation, lockdown, tell no one, trust no one. Every military after-action report from every disaster in the past 50 years says the opposite. Isolated units are vulnerable units. Connected units survive. Your window is before sunset on day 1. Here's why the timing matters. On day 1, social norms still hold. People are confused but civil. They're looking for information, not resources. They'll answer a knock on the door. They'll share what they know. They'll cooperate. By day 2, confusion starts converting to anxiety. By day 3, anxiety converts to desperation. The door that opens willingly on day 1 does not open on day 3. Your window for building a cooperative network is measured in hours, not days. The technique is direct. Knock on doors. Share what you know. Ask what they know. Assess skills. Is anyone a nurse, an electrician, a mechanic, a veteran? These skills become the most valuable currency in a grid-down environment, and they're distributed randomly across your street. Establish a check-in protocol, agree on a signal, a flag on a mailbox, a chalk mark on the curb. Something that communicates status without requiring a conversation every time. If someone doesn't check in, someone else checks on them. This is mutual security. Military consolidation after contact follows the same pattern. Establish a perimeter. Account for personnel. Identify capabilities. Establish communications. Share intelligence. You are doing the same thing at the neighborhood level. The prepper who isolates has one set of eyes, one set of skills, one supply of water, one person on watch while everyone else sleeps. The connected block has 20 sets of eyes, 15 different skill sets, multiple water sources identified, a rotation that lets people actually rest. The math is not close. This action closes the loop opened in your very first minute. You started with a household drill. 60 seconds of coordinated family action. You end day 1 with an organized, networked, operationally postured block. You have water secured. You have situational awareness from your radio. Your family is accounted for. Your home is hardened. Your cash is accessible. Your food is rationed. Your routes are planned. And your neighbors are allies, not unknowns. Everyone else is still staring at a dead phone. 9 actions, no specialized equipment, no expensive gear, just correct sequence executed against a collapsing timeline. The difference between someone who survives the first 72 hours and someone who doesn't is not money. It's not stockpiles. It's the decision to act in the first 60 seconds while everyone else is still figuring out what happened. I've written up a complete guide on EMP preparedness that you can print and keep where Wi-Fi can't reach, linked in the description. Drop a comment and tell me which action your household would struggle with most.